Hi Fiber friends, and welcome to another episode of Fiber and Floral, a mostly knitting podcast. I'm Becca, a multi-crafter, knitter, spinner, sewist, living in Berlin, Germany, and I'm really excited to show you everything that I've been working on in the month of September. I had a giveaway when I did the 15 sweaters to get us in the moody vibe, and I'm gonna announce the winner of that, so hang tight. It'll be towards the end. Feel free to skip ahead if you're like me. I am one of those people who occasionally, very occasionally, will skip to the end of a novel to see how it ends, then continue reading because I can't focus if I don't know how it ends. I've tried to be better about that, but I will admit that I am one of those people. Anyways, I'm really excited. I've got a lot to share with you. I've got my new Book Clib Cardigan. I've got a new scarf. I got a new skirt. My whole outfit is brand new this month, as well as some spinning and a dress that I'm working on that I'm in love with. So yeah, let's get started. I'll go first with everything that I'm wearing, and first off is the Book Clib Cardigan. I'll post some B-roll into the side so you can see it, but I am absolutely thrilled with this cardigan. It has been my longest whip to date. I started this last year in July on my birthday. It was my birthday cast on, and I just finished it. So 14 months. Now, I wasn't knitting it all in that time. I put it down for the spring and summer, but still, for me, to have a whip in my pile for 14 months was a little stressful. Anyways, this is the very famous Book Clib Cardigan by Sari Nordland. It is a top-down, drop shoulder, all over cable cardigan knit in DK to worsted weight. I think she did a sport weight with merino for her version. So you start by casting on for the back shoulder and then knitting down to the armpits in kind of a trapezoid shape, and then you pick up for the front shoulders, finish the body, do the sleeves. Yeah, what I really appreciate about this pattern for me was that I felt like it does look quite complicated with the different cables and the moss stitch and just the pockets and everything else, but I actually found it to be quite intuitive for me, without giving too much away. Like, I felt like it was a really simple pattern to memorize. I mean, obviously I had the pattern with me, but like knitting the sleeves, it was I didn't have to look at the pattern so much. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't, I feel like it's one of those things that looks stunning, but was really, really fun to knit. Kind of like getting the flow. Like, it definitely wasn't easy, but it definitely, I wasn't like wanting to throw it out the window at any point either. So if you've had your eye on this, I'd say give it a go. Definitely maybe not for beginners, but I'd say if you have a couple sweaters under your belt, this would be absolutely achievable. And it looks, I'm really happy with it. I think what's really fun is these little pocket details that are knit in pattern. So the pocket also has the pattern as well as the front of the pocket, and it just looks so seamless. I only did like a little baby pocket because I wanted a more cropped version. And but I just think the details on this are absolutely stunning. So the yarn I used is a Fonte Super Tweed. It is a worsted to Aran weight yarn. It says it goes around 17 stitches. I think this cardigan has like an 18 or 19 stitch gauge, and I think I got around a 17 with this yarn. And so this worked out in my favor because I was in between sizes, and so I just decided to go down and knit a size 2. And I'm really happy with the fit. I know a lot of people went up to a size for the sleeves. I didn't do that, and I'm really, really happy with the fit. I think it's just the right amount of slouch and is really cozy and lovely. This yarn is produced in France, and it is 95% wool and 5% mohair. And I'm pretty sure the mohair is just what makes the tweed, and it's really fun. It is a 2-ply, which I started knitting this before I became a spinner and really learned a lot. I feel like a lot of spinning has taught me a lot about plies and fibers and what's good for what. And 2-ply is more suited for stockinette and lace, whereas you really want a 3 or more ply for cables. So because of that, it kind of doesn't show the stitch definition of the cables as well as it could, as well as other yarns might, but I don't mind it. And I especially think because it's tweed, it's a 2-ply, I still think the cables are overall really well defined and it's really stunning. However, if you really want to get the best stitch definition, you really want a 3 or more ply. But overall, I'm so happy with this. I think it just really gives those autumnal vibes that I'm so happy with. And while I would probably do some things differently, I think if I were to rewind 15 months, I would probably pick like a burnt orange or like a brown solid color to knit this in, but I still adore this and adore this yarn. Would absolutely use this again, but probably more for a stockinette project to really show off how stunning this yarn is. The other thing I want to mention about the yarn is that it grows a ton. I think I'll stand up. I keep sitting and standing. I think I stopped my sleeve here, and as you can see, it probably grew like 4 inches or like around 10 centimeters, which is perfect. I was hoping it would do that. And then I think I stopped here maybe for my sweater. And then once again, it probably grew around 4 inches. It didn't do that with my gauge swatch. Like it didn't grow that much but I think it just happens when you have the weight of a sweater, it's gonna grow more. Even if the swatch doesn't grow too much, just the weight, yeah, it adds up. But it all worked out. I kind of, as I was knitting it, kind of wondered. I got the feel that it might do that. It was really scrunching up. And I think I did block this last October before I'd even finished the body, just to see how much it was going to drape. And yeah, it drapes a lot. It grows a lot. And so that's also just less knitting for more. So I wasn't mad about it at all, but something to note if you plan on using this yarn. Super happy with it. And I'm going to the Berlin Knits Yarn Festival tomorrow. And this is my outfit, and Sari is actually going to be there. I don't know if I'm not going to her workshop or anything, so I don't even think I'll run into her, but kind of hoping I do, so I could be like, look, you're patterned. Yeah. But I'm sure tons of people will also be all over her, and I'm not really a type. I tend to be quite introverted and in person, and so I'm not really the type of person to go up to people, but we'll see what happens. I am also wearing the Fleur Scarf from Brianna Mason of Woolbird Knits, and I'll take it off so you can see it. I posted a reel about this, but I've been styling my bandana scarves with like a little ring to kind of hold it together instead of a knot. This is actually my original wedding band, because we forgot to buy a wedding band, and I think I got this at Walmart for like $1 the night before our wedding. And then we got like a nicer ring later. But if that tells you how bad at wedding planning we were. But yeah, anyways, back to the Fleur Scarf by Brianna Mason. It is a sweet little fingering weight bandana scarf with this Pontel lace that's really trendy right now, but I also just think it's a classic lace pattern. Like, yes, it is trendy, but I think there's something so classic just about a sweet little simple lace shawl. So you start at the end, knit with increases every couple rows, and then decrease until the end again. And then you add in different lines of lace as you go. Very simple. Once again, one of those patterns that you can easily memorize. You did have to keep the pattern. I did have to keep the pattern on me to like look at when you start the lace or like stop knitting the lace, but those are minor details. What was really exciting about this project was the yarn that I used. when we went to Bremen for my husband's work trip over the summer, and I found this little yarn shop. I forget what it was called. Maybe like Bremer Woolladen or something like that. Like Bremen wool store. And they had this 100% yak yarn from Pasquale, which is a brand I'd never heard of before. Actually, though, I think Fruity Knitting mentioned it on their last podcast. But before that, I had never really like had it in my mind. And they had a 100% yak yarn. They discontinued it because the price of yak increased so much. But this is a lace weight that I held double, and it just I knew nothing about yak when I walked in that store, but now I am obsessed. It has a micron count of around 15 to 18, which is similar to cashmere. So like this feels like I am wearing cashmere. It's actually harder to get than cashmere, so I don't know why I don't hear more about it in the yarn community. I may actually have to take this off. I'm quite warm. It's quite cold outside, but our house keeps in the heat quite well. Yeah, I think yak is a yarn or a fiber that I would definitely like to try in the future. I have my eye on some spinny fiber that's half Polworth and half yak. That just, it must be so soft. And I don't have it in my stash yet, but I'm hoping I have my eye on it at the shop where I bought my fiber from. And I love the color. I think it pairs so well with so many different colors in my wardrobe. It's almost a neutral, like it's like an olivey gray green, and it's just a lovely neutral. And I'm really, really happy with this. So glad that I walked in that store and discovered this fiber and this yarn company. They have some merino and yak blend yarn that I'm also really interested in. I might want to try later. And yeah, I love that they're a pretty local company. They're German and it's just a small yarn supplier. They may not be so small, but I'd never heard of them. So yeah, that is the Fleur Scarf by Brianna Mason. Such a sweet little scarf. And I think I have probably 20 grams left. And so maybe I'll make some matching fingering weight fingerless gloves. I think that would just be a really lovely addition to fall and be helpful on my morning commute. So yeah, and then the last thing that I'm wearing is you probably saw it when I stood up before. It is the peppermint pocket skirt. I'll post some b-roll so you can see it. This is a very simple, just elastic waistband skirt, midi skirt with statement pockets. I've made this before, but it had been like really early on in my sewing journey, but it is such a beginner friendly skirt pattern. Everything, the instructions are so clear. The notches on the pattern pieces are so helpful. It sews quickly. It's a stunning result. Can fully recommend it. It's also a pay what you want or free pattern. All Peppermint magazine patterns used to be free, but now they're pay what you want. I had gotten the pattern years and years ago, back when it was still free. And yeah, I just love it. It's definitely a skirt I would make again. And I love that you can kind of like these big humongous statement pockets, you can put yarn in and kind of like knit while you're walking. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Everything made this month and very autumnal. I'm definitely feeling all the autumnal vibes. We have a lot of trees outside of our window and the leaves are starting to change color, and it's absolutely wonderful. I've really been enjoying like biking to work in like the crisp, cool mornings and like a sweater parade every day. It's been lovely. The next finished object I want to show you is actually I've been keeping it a secret for 6 months at this point. It has been so hard, but I test knit the Lawrence sweater for Johanna Gehirsch, or Colibri by Johanna, back in March or April maybe, and I've had to keep it a secret, and it has been so hard because it is such a lovely sweater pattern. It's just a simple top-down raglan, but it has a modified moss stitch. So a moss stitch is where you knit, like you would typically knit purl for two 2 rows in a row and then switch up, but this is actually 4 stitches and then you switch pattern. But very similar to a moss stitch, and then it has 2x2 ribbing and balloon sleeve. So the sleeve is knit straight and then you increase rapidly. And it is just the coziest sweater. Johanna really does like a simple raglan so well, but always finds this like stunning lace or texture to add to it where like it's incredible. I really enjoyed knitting this. It was such a fun thing to knit. And the yarn though is really what made this pattern. The test knit was sponsored by Novita, which is a yarn company I had never heard of. And they came out with a brand new yarn called Helena. And this is the most luxurious yarn I probably will ever be able to knit with. It is 60% wool, 30% silk, and 10% mohair. And oh my goodness, I wish you could feel this against your skin. Absolute luxury. I held it double with their mohair Edith to get like a worsted Aran weight gauge on 5mm needles. So this was a super quick knit. I think it was like a 15 or 16 stitch gauge. So fast and so wonderful. I've actually had enough left that I am knitting another pattern by Johanna for my daughter's birthday sweater. My oldest daughter has her 6th birthday at the end of October. And she's had her eye on the Andy Sweater Junior, also by Johanna, for a long time. And so I had enough of this and their mohair left over that I cast it on. So instead of holding it double, instead of holding it triple, I'm holding it double for a worsted-ish DK, heavy DK weight gauge. It's on 4.5mm needles. And honestly, I don't know if my daughter deserves this much luxury. No 6-year-old should probably be wearing like silk wool sweaters to daycare, but it's fine. She is worthy. It's not about being worthy, I guess. It's more about her ability to take care of it. So this might be like, I don't know if I'm going to send the sweater with her to daycare, but it's once again a very simple raglan sweater, but every couple rows you do rainbow baubles. She recommends 5 colors, and that's what I've done. And then I just had some mohair left over from different projects over the years, and used it for this. You only need about 10 to 15 grams of mohair in each color, so it really is a nice way to use scraps. And like the inside, y'all, the inside is going to be ridiculous. Let me turn it inside out so you could just see. This is insane. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the ends. To be honest, I don't see myself weaving in these ends. I might just like quadruple knot it and cut it. Is that a terrible idea? Convince me if it is, because this is gonna take a long time. But her birthday's at the end of October. I'm not necessarily trying to have this done by then. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. I'm just trying to do like around an hour in the evenings most days. And I mean, I cast this on a week ago and it's come pretty far. I've split for sleeves and have started the body. I have about 20 centimeters to go on the body, maybe 15 if I decide to crop it a little bit, but she's really happy with it. I think it's such her vibe. Right now her style is very bright and very maximalist, so I think this will be perfect for her. It's a lot, but so is she, in the best of ways. And then my last finished object is actually another present for my oldest daughter, but she's gonna have to wait until St. Nicholas to get these. I had mentioned maybe in my last video that I'm gonna try and knit socks for my family for St. Nicholas Tag, or St. Nicholas Day this year, which is a holiday in Germany that celebrates the legend of St. Nicholas on December 6th. And so it used to be tradition that you would get new socks on this day. And so I decided to knit my whole family. So I finished my husband's pair, I finished my oldest daughter's pair, and then I'm going to try to cast on my youngest daughter's pair in October, 1st October. And then I'll be done like a month and a half early. But I just followed the pattern, one of the basic sock patterns in the sock project. She recommended a toddler size, and so that's what I cast on, or maybe the kid size. Is around 48 stitches in a fingering weight gauge. And yeah, super easy. I took these, we went on a hike with some friends maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I knit most of one sock on that hike, and it was just a simple, easy stitch. I think I got this yarn as a gift from someone, and then this is just little random things I had in my stash. I had 100 grams of this, so I have enough that I'm going to knit basically twin socks for my youngest daughter, but she's going to get blue on top so that we can tell the difference. Hopefully we could tell the difference from size, but you never know. I'm considering embroidering their initials on this side, but we'll see if I have enough time. That might be like a spur of the moment thing I decide on the evening of December 5th. But yeah, very simple vanilla socks. I think the yarn kind of does all the work for you, and that's what I wanted. I cast these on, and yeah, I just wanted a simple project that I could take on the go, and these were definitely it. And she loves them. She obviously saw me knitting them and is really excited about them. So they're going to be our like Christmas market, or like we're going to go on a winter hike socks, just something warm to keep her feet warm. So okay, so those are all my finished objects for this month. Let's move on to whips. And okay, I guess I've kind of shown some whips in between, but let me start with this one. So as a part of my spinning series, I cast on the Grid Gambit cowl by Samantha Guerin, and I am using my hand spun ramble dyed with goldenrod, and as well as some marigold and other flowers that I've had in my dye garden, and it created this wonderfully gorgeous fall colorway. And I think combined with this blue, it's really beautiful. There's like little spots of red and green, and it kind of just feels like an early fall day when I look at it. I'm holding it with one of my favorite garns, BC Garn Samilla, which is a sport weight 100% merino 2-ply, and this light aqua colorway that's just absolutely stunning. And then because it's a sport weight, I am holding it also with a new yarn by them called Svala. Let me see if yes, here's the label. It's a little bent from being in my yarn. Svala, and this is a brand new yarn by this company. It is 100% lace weight alpaca, 400 meters to 50 grams, and it is just so fluffy. Like I feel like that's the best word. It's fluffy, it's soft. It is just, they recommend to hold it with their Samilla, which is what I've done. And I think together it just is going to create the most gorgeous cowl. I talked about in my last fiber video. I'll post a link here if you want to check that out and see how I dyed it and how I spun ramble and the history behind ramble. It's actually really fun. Some people consider ramble like the end of the Spanish merino survival, or like the end of the Spanish merino era. I was talking to a Spanish colleague actually about it, and he had some strong feelings about ramble sheep because it was kind of the end of the Spanish merino industry. Obviously it still exists, but I won't share too much. Go watch the video. Really interesting stuff. But it's a wonderfully soft and just really nice wool to have around your neck. And this is gonna be a gift for a colleague, hopefully, if I finish it before Christmas. We'll see. I actually have it on hold line right now because I needed my needles for a different project, so we'll see. My other main knitting whip at the moment, and it's kind of hard to see because the construction is so interesting. It is the Patali Slipover by Marie Eve. I don't even know how to show you this. Marie Eve of In Her Skein, and such an interesting, okay, here we go. Here's the cast on line. So it is knit, oh Lord. Okay, here we go. We got this. It is knit, you cast on the side, kind of like, it kind of has princess seams. And I'll post a photo of her finished object because that'll probably make more sense. So you cast on the princess seam line, knit the front and back together, knit the shoulder, and then split for the neckline, increase for the neckline, or decrease, increase, and then you go back. I'm now on the part where I'm knitting across the back. And once I've knit across the back, I will combine again, knit the shoulder, and knit this really lovely little scalloped edging, and then I'll go back and pick up for the underarm to knit that section, and then I'll do scalloped edging around the neckline, the waist, and the arm side. I think it's a wonderfully easy knit that's going to be so lovely to wear over blouses and dresses. I have a few dresses that I've planned to be sewing this fall, one of which I'll show you next. And I just wanted a really nice slip over to wear on top in case I'm a little chilly. So, and I think this is going to be it. It is just, it's a really lovely pattern. It should come out in early December. Sadly, I mean, it's a good thing. She has a very long testing window of 8 weeks, but for you, it might be a little sad because you may not get to try it for a while. But really interesting construction. It's been going really fast. I cast this on last Sunday night, I believe. And I mean, I have not been knitting this nonstop. This is just something I get to when I have time. And I would say I'm probably about 40% done, and it's gone by so fast. There's different lengths as well. So there's a cropped length, there's a long length, there's a version that has like higher armpits and it's designed for summer yarn. And then there's a version that has wider armpits, so it's more of a vest. And so I really like that this is a top that can be made as like a slip over, or can be made in summer yarn and worn by itself as a tank top. So that's really interesting that she's done that. I really appreciate that you're kind of getting the option, getting two different seasonal options out of one pattern. That's a really interesting technique. I am using a yarn that I'm so excited about. I am using Vovo by Rosa Pomar. I feel like everyone is knitting with Rosa Pomar right now. It is kind of like the up and coming yarn company. It's been around for a long time, but so I don't know why I hadn't heard of it, but I heard about it on Marlene Knits podcast, and I am obsessed with this grandma. And it was like, I don't even care what the yarn is. I want to knit for the logo alone. Like, I want this on a tattoo. That is me when I am older. There's another one where like a grandma is like hugging a sheep, and yeah, I want both of those. I don't know the legality of getting logos tattooed on you, but I want it so bad. Anyways, Rosa Pomar is, I believe, a Portuguese company, and what's great about their yarn is that all the sheep are taken care of in Portugal. They are scoured, milled, and dyed in Portugal as well. So this is a truly local, yeah, I mean, local-ish for me. I mean, Germany is quite small, so I consider most European brands to be local. Extra points if it actually is from Germany. But I mean, my in-laws in Baltimore are farther away from my home in Alabama than Portugal is from us in Berlin, to put things in perspective. So somewhat local. This is a sport weight yarn, but I got a DK weight gauge with this. I got a 21 stitch gauge, and it's a pretty thick fiber. I actually do feel like this might be more of a like heavy sport to light DK, and you get 140 meters out of 50 grams. So I feel like if you are a heavy or a loose knitter like me, you could probably easily get a DK weight gauge with this, and get more more yarn for your money. So definitely worth checking out. It's super soft, 100% merino. It looks really rustic, I feel like. Like it kind of has a Peer Gynt quality to it, but it is so soft, so nice. It has this feel to it that I haven't been able to describe. I mean, I think it feels like lanolin. That's what it feels like to me. And I know from like when I've gotten raw fiber and had to process it, that's what it feels like. But this is processed and washed. But maybe it's just, maybe the way that they make their wool keeps the lanolin on it, which I wouldn't mind. But I know there are people who are allergic to lanolin. So, and I have not confirmed this. That's just what it feels like to me. I would actually be curious if anyone knows. Yeah, now I'm curious. I've been trying to figure out what it feels like, and I just crossed my mind that it feels like lanolin, which is great for your hands if you're not allergic. So, we'll absolutely be using more Vovo in the future. It's a super affordable yarn. I think I paid €6 for a skein, and so I will probably use around 3 skeins for a vest, which under €20 for a ethical, local, fair trade, bio, organic wool. There we go. Finally got it the 4th time. Wool with a stunning feel to it is kind of insane. So definitely a yarn I would go back to in the future. Yeah, that is. And then my complete last whip, I'm actually going to change and put it on so you can see it. Hang on. So this is the Ember dress by So Liberated. As you can see, I have not sewn my side seams at all, but I'm getting close. This is a midi length circle, kind of like half circle skirt dress with princess seams and really fun sleeves. I've had this in my pattern repertoire since it came out in the spring and have yet to make it. And I think it's just going to be stunning. I'm hoping to finish it today. I just have to attach the sleeves and basically sew the side seams and hem it. But the sleeves, I chose View B, which has lace inserts on the princess seams. I actually decided not to do lace inserts, and instead I did decorative stitching, which I think is like a nice compromise. And then I also need to go back and do decorative stitching on the princess seams in the skirt. And I'm also going to do them on the hems. You can see this sleeve. I've done the hem. I'm going to go back with scissors and trim along the seam line so you get kind of a scalloped hem. And then the sleeves. Look at this sleeve. This is a View B sleeve. That is a statement sleeve. It's not going to end. I still have to insert elastic in these channels, and so it's going to be kind of a poofy, would you say Victorian, medieval maybe, sleeve? I have never worn a sleeve like this, so this is very much a trial run to see how it's gonna go. But like, look at that. That is a statement. It's gonna be so poofy. I think this is gonna look really cute under vest, and so that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for. And yeah, I'm really hoping that I can finish this weekend. I'm really excited to see how this looks. This is very much a trial style for me, but I think it's gonna be fun. Even if I don't like the sleeves, I have enough fabric to go back and redo them with a sleeve that I'm more comfortable with. So I figured it was worth the trial. And the waist, you also insert elastic here. And so the waist has a lot of ease, but then once you add the elastic ties at the side with the bows, you're going to be able to cinch the waist in. And so it's one of those dresses that I think could be really good for the fluid changes of our body, and will be a great dress just to wear all year round. I'm wearing it, or I'm sewing it up in a viscose linen that I got from Drieselstoff, which is a fabric company in the Netherlands that someone recommended to me and thought I would try. I think for this viscose linen, it's definitely more on the viscosy side. It's super lightweight, but perfect for dresses. Like, it is my ideal dress weight linen viscose fabric. And I'm even thinking about ordering more for some winter blouses. I just think there's something so, I'm kind of going away from sewing fully viscose garments because I just like a little bit of crisp. There's just something so nice about like ironing linen and cotton. and just creates such beautiful lines. And also gives your garment a little more poof and just like texture. Kind of like what hairspray does for your hair. I feel like linen and cotton with the viscose just give just a little bit of like texture that makes it hold better. And so yeah, I would definitely order more of this, and it was so cheap. It was maybe 3 to 4 euros a meter, which is pretty insane for a viscose linen. I would absolutely recommend it. I mean, we'll see how it holds up, but even just for like muslin garments or like practice garments, this would be such a great fabric to have on hand. And I actually kind of am using this as a muslin. I have some really expensive Liz Taylor fabric with like gorgeous, it's like a mustard yellow with like red and pink roses all over it. It's so stunning and like perfect for fall. And so I'm hoping to make another one of these in that fabric as well, but like with normal sleeves. So this is kind of a muslin anyways, so if it doesn't last, nothing is lost, but I'm hoping it does, and I think it's going to be really, really fun. So those are all the finished objects. So those are all the projects I have to show you today. I hope you were inspired by some of them. I would love to, once again, like I always say, make this a dialogue. Let me know what you're working on. Please reach out on Instagram, send me your projects, let me know what you're knitting. I love meeting people through this channel, and that was the goal when I created this, was to create a community, not just to sit up here and monologue all the time. So please reach out, whether below, down in the comments, or on Instagram, say hello, let me know what you're knitting, let me know if we're knitting any of the same things or sewing some of the same things. Yeah. And then finally, I wanted to do our giveaway. I did a video for 15 sweaters to get you in the fall vibes a few weeks ago now, and said that everyone to comment with their favorite and I would pick a winner and gift them that pattern on Ravelry. And so, drum roll please. The winner is Coleslaw Cat, which, sidebar, great name, who is interested in the field sweater. So thank you so much for watching my video and commenting. I can absolutely recommend the field sweater. It is a stunning sweater, and I'm so happy that you get to knit this. You already have the yarn for it, so that's perfect. Reach out to me either on Ravelry or comment below with your Ravelry name, and I'll reach out to you and get you your sweater. I'm really excited that you are going to knit this, and I hope that you reach out later with your finished object. So thank you guys so much to everyone who commented. I had so much fun reading what you guys all found, what everyone found like as their favorite. That was honestly like the coolest part about it, was seeing like what everyone was interested in, kind of seeing what the majority of the people said. A favorite was the rosy sweater. Another one, yeah, the field sweater came up a few times, and then there was another one that surprised me. I think it was the sweater with the basket weave, got mentioned a few times, and I don't know, I think that because that was an older sweater, I wasn't expecting so many people to be into it, but also I think that's just such a classic texture. So yeah, I hope you got something out of all these videos, and thank you so much for watching, and yeah, happy knitting, friends. Bye.